Hello, interwebs. I wanted to give a message related to National Police Week. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which that date falls is Police Week. We tend to hold that as a bit of a somber occasion because of the line of duty deaths that we undoubtedly and invariably are going to have to work our way through week, month, year. And there's been strategies to try to offset that since really the beginning of law enforcement, but certainly 1962, Kennedy acknowledging it being an issue by virtue of that police memorial day on May 15th, and then all the way through current training. And there's events that we know that certainly influence training more than others. You can look at the New Hall incident in California, where 4 troopers were killed. Incident in Oklahoma, up near Seattle, where multiple officers were killed. Things like 9/11, where terrorism becomes a huge issue as well. But when you look at the data, and those that have attended classes with me know that I like to look at the numbers, and the realities are it's those incidents in and around our cars that predominantly cause us the greatest risks, and we tend to normalize risk because we're so accustomed to being in high risk situations. We're in cars regularly around high moving volumes of traffic, and also in speed, especially in along highways and major corridors. And there's even been a pretty important campaign titled Below 100 that talks about wearing your belt, wearing your vest, watch your speed, and that formula of what's important now when to try to reduce our complacency. Tomorrow I'm going to go over to our memorial and touch the names of folks, a couple that I knew personally that are etched on that, one of whom is a friend of mine from many years, John Norsworthy, and who was involved in a motor vehicle crash going to assist another deputy, and as a result of injuries sustained in that crash, passed away in 2011. I always talk to John when I go by the memorial, kind of touch his name and let him know we're carrying on in his honor for those of us that worked with him. But when you look at the memorial in Fort Bend County, the names there, you look at the state of Texas, you look nationally, and we tend to die in this business related to incidents in and around the motor vehicle when we're out there working. Now, with recent exposures because of COVID-19, the numbers are a little skewed with illness, not unlike how 2001 was September 11th, those large numbers that were caused not only on September 11th, but those illnesses and that officers that responded to the scene ended up suffering, cancer related in particular. Right now there's 77 line of duty deaths in the nation, 31 of which are COVID related. In Texas there's 18, and 8 of those are attributed to COVID right now. So that's about 44% of the line of duty deaths are related to COVID this year. Doesn't make them any less tragic, just things that happen like that, like this pandemic or September 11th, for example, kind of shift how we assess our risk. We spend so much time talking about the violent assailant that's going to attack us, but the reality is it's that motor vehicle and the complacency that can naturally come. So what I'm asking for my brothers and sisters in blue is to think about that. You know, the May 15th is a symbol of that. My good friend JD, his birthday is May 17th, and it's hard not to associate those two things together for me because I knew John before he was even a cop. And so that's an important aspect to me, is to remind us that those danger elements associated with offenders coming at us are real, that we know they're real, and we train a lot for those, but we hold a lot of that control in our hands when we're out there driving. We're out of the vehicles and around. It doesn't mean that we can't be assaulted outside of our vehicles by folks trying to harm us with theirs. We know that happens. But I'm asking, just keep that in mind. And for those that aren't in the business, however you feel about us, that's okay. Know that if you ever call, we're coming. And we're going to do the best of our ability, oftentimes at our own personal and professional risk, to try to keep folks safe. That's what we do. It doesn't always look pretty. It isn't always nice. And unfortunately, social media puts it out there in ways that is maybe not reflective of an entire incident. But know that no matter what our interactions have been, if you call 911 or you ask for our help, we're coming. We're going to do the best of our ability to do you right in the most difficult of circumstances. So May 15th, as you see it on your calendar, Friday, just keep in mind that there are folks in nearly every community in the United States that have been touched by a line of duty death of a police officer or a peace officer serving their community. So keep them in mind. And when you're out there in your civilian world driving around, be on the lookout for them. Be mindful that they're out there on those roads, and keep your heads up, stay off those phones, and avoid drinking and driving, so that families of first responders and in particular law enforcement officers don't end up suffering a tragedy because of a decision that you made to occupy yourself while you're out there driving on the road. God bless. Stay safe.